Right, Frenchie, you've agreed to do this Q&A. My subscribers have said thank you. Michael Holcroft asks, if possible, could you please ask Mr. French his views on mental health services in prisons in England?
The mental health services within English jails is inadequate. If not inadequate, absolutely non-existent. Healthcare itself within inside the English prison system, is in crisis, just like the prisons themselves. But the mental health issues are basically ignored, and this is justified and enhanced by the suicide rates.
Right, Gray Rothwell asks, ask the Frenchman if he thinks that Liverpool is a worse place these days than back in the day.
Do I think Liverpool's a worse place than back in the day? It's just as bad. I don't believe anything's changed. In 1984, Lord Gifford did the Gifford report, and he said Liverpool was the most racist city in Europe with the most racist police force. The only thing that's improved, is that there's more tolerance in the city, but the police force remains the same. So I'd say it's about the same.
Right, Gray Rothwell asks another question. He says, does the Frenchman still do martial arts?
I keep myself fit and healthy. I kick and punch bags regular. I go to gym regular. I don't teach martial arts anymore, but I keep me hand in.
Right. Aaron Rowe asks, can you ask the Frenchman his views on racism?
It's a very broad spectrum question. My views on racism, is it's the racist problem. I've never allowed racism to actually affect me. What I've done, is I've seen as the racism problem. I'm more focused now on institutional racism. Racism within institutions is the real problem for me. Individual racism you can deal with, but when an institution, you face racism within inside an institution, it's much more difficult.
Aaron Rowe goes on to ask, what did you whisper in Danny Dyer's ear in The Deadliest Men?
Everybody asks me that question, and I'm not saying no.
Right. Lee Latus, he's a subscriber for a long time, this guy. He's asked a lot of questions, very interesting guy. Lee Latus asks, when Frenchie was a taxman, and a very good one at that, did he do what he did because he was anti-drugs or for his own personal gain, or both?
Right. The politically correct answer would say that I did it because I was anti-drugs, but then I would be being a liar. I did it because I wanted the money. Plain and simple. There were no opportunities for us. I found a niche where you couldn't really get prosecuted, and I did it for the money.
Right. He also goes on to ask, does he think taxing drug dealers fueled the drugs trade or stifled it?
One of the reasons why I became, it's a very interesting question. What's the guy's name?
This is Lee Latus.
Lee Latus, that's a very interesting question. One of the reasons why I became an anti-gun campaigner, before I made a hypocrite of myself in 2013 and pistol whipped somebody, right now I'm just a peace campaigner, is that how does the 10.5 stone drugs dealer protect himself from a man like me? He arms himself. So I take culpability in the rise of firearms within the society that I live in. I take my own personal responsibility that people start to protect themselves with guns. Although I don't have no munitions factories, I don't have no abilities to make bullets, the guns were already here. So that's my answer to that.
Right, Jerry from Derry asks, when you came out of Borstal, did it leave you a bitter man? If Borstal wouldn't have been so institutionally racist, and without the bullying, etc., would you have come out and lived a different life?
Well, Jerry from Derry, hello, how are you doing? I never went to Borstal, but the same question can be applied to prison. And no, it never made me bitter, All it did is made me more determined to make a difference.
Right. Lee Latus back again with another question. He drops about 20 Frenchie, this guy. Lee Latus, thank you for doing this Q&A, and asks, who's your favourite artist in a painting sense and artistically wise, or what type of things do you find aesthetically pleasing?
That's a very difficult question to answer. I like the classical art, yeah, right, Raphael, yeah, right, Michelangelo, yeah, and things that depict divinity. They're the pictures that that are found at the British Museum. A friend of mine, who's the chaplain at Old Children's Hospital, took me to the British Museum and showed me some fascinating paintings of some fascinating saints. And one of my favourite paintings, you're right, is Samson with Delilah and the Philistines in the doorway.
Right, Lee Later's back again asking another question. Asked, do you like birds or nature?
I absolutely love wildlife, you're right. And what absolutely fascinates me is big cats. I love the big cats because I'm a big black panther.
Lee Later's asks again, would you go into space given the chance, or are you afraid of heights?
I would like to travel into space if I got the opportunity. And I am afraid of heights. One of the things I am afraid of heights. But what I did to face my fears is I did a bungee jump. But when I did the bungee jump, I went off backwards. And the guy said to me, "You're a pussy." So I went back up again and dived off head first.
Lee Later's asks again, what do you like to do to relax?
I like to write, yeah, right. I enjoy descriptive writing, yeah, right, and creative writing more than I do reading, yeah, right. That's why my Facebook post was so long, yeah, right. I really enjoy the communication of the written word.
Right. Brack777 asks, could you ask Stephen when he thinks Liverpool changed in relation to drugs, gangs and shootings happening in Liverpool?
Brack777, yeah, right. It was when cocaine started getting changed into crack. Yeah, right. Late 80s to the early 90s. That's when it all exploded. Yeah, right. Because the amounts of money that could be made, yeah, the intensity of the competition, the intensity of that actual drug changed the whole culture. Yeah, right. And it's the same everywhere. So I would say late 80s, early 90s, and the implosion of crack cocaine.
13. He also goes on to ask, also, did kids in Liverpool aspire to be in drugs gangs in the 1980s like so many seem to do now?
There was gangs in the 1980s, yeah, right. I myself was a member of a gang called the Solid Gold Posse, yeah, right. But it wasn't so much territorial. It was just groups of mates that stayed together. It wasn't the post-Cold Wars that we've got today, where young men are killing each other with a view to where they live. Right? I'm not making no judgments on that, and I'm not saying that it's that we were any better. I'm just saying that it wasn't so. It wasn't full of such vitriol as it is today.
Right, Brack777 again. Why does Liverpool always seem to produce a constant conveyor belt of people to want to join gangs and to be in the drug trade?
It's got a lot to do with Liverpool being a port and facing America. Yeah, a lot of the drugs coming through the ports. Yeah, right. The economic and social deprivation on Merseyside is well documented. Yeah, right. And within the inner cities, and not just the black community, also the white communities, Anfield, Croxford, Bootle, they're all suffering the same social and economic deprivation. And for most, it's the only way, yeah, to alleviate the poverty that they're born into.
Right, this is my question. Right, guys, this is my question to Frenchie. I'm interested to know what Frenchie's hobbies are, interests, music, films, things like that.
I've just recently been to see the Black Panther film, the best film I ever seen. I love what they call sword and sandal movies. Anything to do with sword fighting, they're the type of movies that I actually love. Yeah, the music that I like is dancehall reggae music, R&B, and I've just started to listen to Kendrick Lamar, right, who's reintroducing God into rap music. So they're my interests at the present moment in time.
Right guys, that finishes the video, so I'm grateful to Frenchie for taking part, and tune in, like, comment and subscribe.